Hi there, welcome to my channel. I have had a crazy month and a half, and I wanted to share some of that with you all. I ended up towards the beginning of September getting really sick, and I thought it was just my normal. I have severe endometriosis, something I've dealt with a long time. I have a pretty high pain tolerance because I've been dealing with it for so long. It also can cause nausea and vomiting. So when I was in pain and nauseous and vomiting, I was like, yeah, this is just my usual stuff. Well, it turned out to be a lot more than that. I did an update video a little while ago explaining what was going on. And now that I'm feeling better, I wanted to share a little bit more. I actually had some footage of that I had taken while I was in the hospital. So with all of that, okay, you have the beginning of school, it's already different, our kids are at home, we're trying to juggle our business, which had to completely revamp the way we were doing things. Then I get really sick. On top of that, there was wildfires going on in our area. So with all of that, I had not just a kidney infection, but I had a kidney stone, which I've never had before, that was really large, and it was blocking my ureter so that urine could not pass. So my kidney was filled up with urine. Like, it was pretty bad. But again, since I had endometriosis and I've had actually felt like these kind of symptoms were there before. Anyways, I'm going to show you some what's going on, but this has definitely affected my eating disorder recovery. And I wanted just to talk a little bit about what happens in getting sick or being in the hospital or emergencies, or life happens. Being in quarantine, having a pandemic, all these things can just happen. We're not always prepared for them, but they can definitely affect our eating disorders in different ways. And for me, I definitely was affected from this. So I'll go ahead and let you see what happened and what I kind of went through, and then I'll be back and we can talk about that. I took these pictures before I went to the hospital, and the sky is this weird pinkish orange because of the wildfires. It was actually a really clear day, but you can't tell that the forecast was actually blue skies and sunshine. It made a really weird looking sky. Here I'm in the emergency room waiting to find out what's going on, and I was a little entertained that I must have been in one of the kids' rooms. I eventually found out that I had not only a kidney infection, but a very large kidney stone. Actually, a couple different kidney stones, but the big one was stuck inside my ureter, as I mentioned before, and it was blocking everything, so they needed to do a couple of different surgeries. Here I am with my fluids. They were giving me antibiotics and waiting for my first surgery that was going to happen that night. Because everything was so blocked, they needed to do something right away, but because everything was so infected, they couldn't take out the stone until the infection was better. So the first thing they did was, and it was really just a minor procedure, it just happened to be under anesthesia, but it was just to put a stent in to help things drain while the antibiotics was fighting the infection. So when I checked into the ER yesterday, I did not know I was going to be admitted. I had no idea that I was going to end up having surgery. I had no idea any of this, but I am actually very, very grateful that that it was all caught and they did that CAT scan, and without that CAT scan, we wouldn't have known what was going on. So I would have just gotten worse and worse, and according to the doctor, it was bad. It couldn't wait. It needed to be done now. So, yep, I'm just on another more. They've been running IV fluids continuously, and then I have some IV antibiotics right now too. So getting that taken care of so that I can get all better and back to the old me. Back to a normal human being.
yeah, everyone's been really kind here. Oh, the weird thing is that I hope you guys can hear me. I don't want to be too loud. I feel awkward. My door's closed, but we have fires like all around us, like wildfires. And we are currently in a level 1 evacuation, which is, we don't have to evacuate yet, but it's like stay alert and wait for it. There's 3 levels. If you get to level 2, that's like get ready. It still doesn't mean you have to evacuate, but it gets ready that it's more of a threat. Level 3 means you get out. So we're in level 1, so we feel really good about that, but I mean, that can change. Last night, things changed, and people who are closer to us are now, I mean, like when I say closer, like a few miles away, are now in level 2 or 3. We have friends and family that have had to evacuate, so that's been it's been hard. It looks like Mars out here. I don't know if I'll be able to show it, but it's like this weird pink orange, like everything. It's weird. It's really smoky. It's like campfire outside. So what I'm grateful for is that my husband like convinced me. I've been sick since Sunday, but he convinced me, and I thought it was just my usual like endometriosis and interstitial cystitis that causes lots of pain, and interstitial cystitis can make it, you feel like you have a UTI when you don't. So, well, duh, I'm not going to go every time I feel like that because I don't. 3 a.m. Thursday morning, I woke up and my fever got up to 103. Now, I cannot remember the last time I've had a fever. I just don't get fevers. When I do, they're really low. They're like really low grade. But for me to be at 103, like, I think I realized there's some other kind of infection going on I didn't feel like a virus. I didn't really feel like I was like sick in that way, like a virus or flu or anything like that. So we ended up, my husband's like, I think you need to go. And I was like, okay, let's just go. Let's go now. And that was like, I don't know, like 8:30 in the morning. So we got here, and if I hadn't gotten there in the morning, I would not have been able to even get in to the ER, at least this one. I'd had it probably have gotten far away because with the fires, the forest fires, there's hospitals that are closing down or evacuating. So they're evacuating patients to this hospital because it's so close. So yesterday afternoon, they can't accept any more patients because they got to 100% capacity with all of the other people who evacuated to this hospital. So that's why I'm really grateful. I'm grateful that just everything, that it was caught, that I'm feeling better, because I'm not grateful it was serious, but I'm grateful because it was serious that I was able to get care and be able to feel better. I am so puffy. Like everything is really, really puffy right now. I look like a mess, but this is, again, I like to show real life. All those fluids, continuous fluids, after being dehydrated for a really long time. This is what that looks like. Anyways, I'm really grateful for you guys too, and everyone who watches these videos and along on my journey, and just, I appreciate that. I really do. It means a lot. It really, really does. So I'll check back later. I feel very grateful. I'm feeling better. Very grateful that I was able to get in. All these other hospitals and other areas that are in level 3 have been evacuated, and they evacuated patients here yesterday after I got checked in. Really just a couple hours. And yeah, I'm glad I was admitted when I was and got everything taken care of when I did. And so now I'm just looking forward to my next surgery. Yay. Get the next part taken care of, and then one more procedure after that, and then it's done. So yeah. Anyways, but I am very, very grateful. And I was just, my husband and I were talking about, and I was just telling him how just amazingly, the air quality is not so good. It's not as orange today, but it's smoky. I didn't get compares to yesterday. Think it's any better?
It's a little less smoky.
That's what I'm thinking too.
The humidity is up today, which is helping
Yeah.
things, and the wind has shifted some. It's supposed to get better through the weekend.
But everyone was so kind. Like all these frontline workers, these nurses, these doctors, all the hospital staff, they are going through so much. And switching hospitals, like two of my nurses weren't even from this hospital. They were from one of the other hospitals. And that had closed, that had evacuated. And I am just so impressed that I received the most amazing care, the most sweet, kindest, compassionate, caring people. And I feel so grateful. Anyways, I'm looking forward to going home, being with my family and seeing my boys who've been really concerned. I was kind of worrying about that, and just being in my own bed and recovering. Let's see, today is Tuesday. I just got a call and they scheduled my next surgery for this Friday, so it'll be just a little over a week. I thought it was supposed to be like 2 to 3 weeks in between, but I'm glad. I'm glad to get this next one done, over with. And then I just got a call that I have to have another COVID test, because if you have a surgery, you have to have another COVID test. So even though I had it last week, it has to be within 3 days. So now we're just on our way to the hospital to get the COVID test done. I guess they just do it right there in the parking lot. It's supposed to be pretty easy. It's not comfortable, but it's not the end of the world either. It's not the worst thing. So, yeah, that's my update. It's pretty smoky still, but we have been lowered out of any level of evacuation. We're back to zero. We, at least at this point, there's no threat of evacuating. So, yeah, that's where we're at. I'm just gonna get that done, and I'm feeling better, feeling a lot better than I was before I went into the ER last week, not even a week ago, I guess. Just a lot of pain. It's not feeling great, but just, again, very grateful that I went in when I did. So, okay, I'll update you guys later. COVID test all done, and now we're going back home.
I wanted to show you the difference in the sky from the first time I took these pictures. So the sky is not that weird pink orange, but that is smoke out there. It is not clouds, it's actually smoke. The sun is kind of covered in a weird orange color as well. Here I am at 5:15 a.m., ready to get to the 5:30 a.m. check-in time at the hospital. And this time they are going to take that stent out, use lasers to break up the kidney stone, and then take it out, and then put one more stent in.
Okay, I think I'm ready to bust out of this place. Things went really well. Just ready to go home, see my boys. Okay, so quick update. Today is Thursday, so tomorrow it will have been a week since my last surgery, so almost a week. I'm going to the doctors now, the surgeons now, to have my stent removed. So I've been in just a lot of pain, and it hasn't been getting any better, to the point where it's like hard to eat, hard to drink. I get more pain when I eat and drink, which, as you can imagine, that can be have issues when you're recovering from eating disorder. So I talked to my dietitian today, and she was saying, you know, you might want to call the surgeon, make sure that's the appropriate amount of pain you should be in, and maybe, you know, see what else they can do to help you. So I called, and they said, well, the stent is pretty painful, so they said you can come in, we can get you in today and have it removed. So I don't know what the timeline was. I think it was between like 2 and 3 weeks. It hasn't been a week. So I'm grateful though, because I'm wanting this thing out. It's causing me a lot of pain. It's making it hard to eat and drink, and I'm hoping that really helps. So my husband taking me. He had to rearrange his schedule, but he is so nice, and he did that so that he can take me. I'm in too much pain to drive myself right now. So we're gonna do that and get it taken out. It's supposed to be just a really quick thing. I don't have to go under anything. It's just, they just pull it out. So
we'll see how that goes.
Sound pleasant.
Doesn't sound pleasant, but I think in the long run it'll be more pleasant if it's not inside me. So
Yes.
we're gonna go do that, and I'm hoping to be feeling better. Okay, I'm gonna go. Here I'm at the doctor's office waiting to get my stent removed. It was not comfortable, but it really only took a few seconds, so it wasn't that bad. Okay, so all of that had happened, and I'm feeling so much better. I would say that I'm like 95% better. I really am just having now just some lingering just tiredness, and appetite and stuff is still a little bit off, which is what I want to talk about. Like, what happens when you have to go through surgeries, or just being sick, or having chronic pain? Any of these things can really cause things to get off with your eating disorder recovery. And up until this point, I feel really good that I was in a really, really good place. Nutritionally, my mindset, kind of everything. If this would have happened a year ago, it would have been a lot harder physically on my body, and just even to go through that, to recover, because I was so undernourished. Like, if you're behind nutritionally, if you're not feeding your body what it needs, it's really hard for it to recover, for it to like get over things. I just feel really grateful that I was in a really good spot, and I was also able to just handle it all, even just mentally, nutritionally. So let's talk about that, because already with my endometriosis, I go through times when it's really acting up, where I feel like it hurts to eat. I get nauseous when I eat. I even get to the point sometimes of vomiting. So all of that isn't really pro-recovery, because when you're trying to follow your meal plan, I kind of just have to, set it to the side. But thankfully, I have a really, really good dietitian who works with me, and she works with where I'm at, and we plan together what I can do, and she really trusts my body, and the fact that trust what I'm telling her, what I can and can't do. And I have to just know that I always have to be really honest. And when I can do more, I have to be honest with that too. But so this time it was no exception. She really helped me nutritionally. I had, after the surgery and everything, I just really, it hurt to eat. It hurt to pee. It hurt, just everything hurt. I was nauseous. I was still vomiting. Things just didn't sound good to eat, so I wasn't eating a whole lot. I'm transitioning out of that, when you're physically starting to feel better, but mentally your brain and your eating disorder grabs onto that. It's like, oh, well, you've only been eating these 3 foods right now, and you've been eating very little amounts, and your hunger cues are really kind of gone again. And so let's just keep you right here. Doesn't this feel safe? You have control of your body. My eating disorder, for me, tells me that it gives me control, even though we know it doesn't. So trying to get out of that, like, what do you do? I really just, for me, what helps me is just to really rely on my dietitian, and just to be honest, and having someone that you really trust, that does work with you and meets you where you're at, but also pushes you and makes sure you don't stay there. I am now eating more and more types of food than I was 3 weeks ago, a month ago, but I am still under where I was 2 months ago. So I know that I need to, in order to do everything in my life, I'm busy, I'm a mom, my wife, we own a business, all the things. It's hard. It's hard to, focus on that, and really making sure that you do trust. If you do have a dietitian and a therapist and a doctor that you trust, if you have a team that you really trust, relying on them and making sure that you're not listening to your eating disorder voices. Because if I was to wake up every morning and listen to my eating disorder, I would be staying where I was a month ago. I would have very little intake. I would have very little variety, and that's where I would stay. But I can't. Every day I wake up, I have to fight those urges to listen to my eating disorder and go backwards, and I have to choose to trust and listen to my team. So let me know if you have ever been in these kind of situations where you've gotten sick and you've gone backwards in recovery. What did you do to kind of get forward? Like I said, I feel like I can't trust my own thoughts all the time. I just have to trust my team, and for me that is really working, and I'm just know that where I was, I want to get back to there. And I feel like since I was in a really good place, it's like I'm actually able to process this and accept that I do need to be getting more into recovery again and adding to my meal plan, and in order to do all the busy things I do in my life. But it's not always easy. So tomorrow I have an appointment with someone who specializes in endometriosis. It's somebody I have seen in the past. I've had several surgeries for endometriosis, and I'll let you know how that goes. I just got to the point where I realized what this did do is it made me realize that the pain I was going through on the left side for these kidney stones that were blocking everything. And I've heard that like this is supposed to be really, really painful. It didn't even touch the pain that I have all the time on my right side. In fact, I went into the emergency room saying, well, I have this pain that I always have, but it's really bad right now. It's on my right side, but I have this new pain, it's my left. So just knowing that I'm in this much pain all the time and I'm trying to ignore it, and no wonder it's so hard for me to just sometimes get through the day, I just decided that, I'm going to go ahead, and I've been putting this off, and I'm in a good place mentally where I could potentially have a surgery. There's a lot more involved in that too, which I'll share, but I feel like that's probably a whole other video, so I'll let you know after that appointment how it goes and what we talk about and what we decide to do. Anyways, I will follow up with you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate everyone who does subscribe to my channel, and if you're not, please subscribe to my channel. Please like this video. That shows me that you are interested in kind of my life updates. Lots of love to you all, and I'll see you in the next video.